Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Leasing Highway, presented by the Apartment Association of Metro Denver. The Leasing Highway is a podcast focused on the heartbeat of the apartment industry, and I'm one of your hosts, Ian Andrews.
Hi there, and I'm Karen Gladney, one of your other hosts. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Christopher Dean, who is actually with the Apartment Association of Metro Denver, VP of Marketing and Communications. And Chris, we're really honored to have been partnering with you this whole season, and so grateful for that partnership and just for you helping us share these voices of the industry with everyone. And then two, to hear from you today and just hear the other side, the backbone of what I feel like is our industry, which is the Apartment Association. And let's start with you first and just share a little of your own background and story.
Sure, yeah, and thanks for having me. This almost feels a little like a fluff piece, right? So the presenting sponsor, Apartment Association, has to have a AAMD guest on it, but there's plenty to talk about, obviously. But it feels weird being among guests like Janelle French a few weeks ago, and Jeff Hawks early in the season. I mean, these are all industry legends, and I do appreciate the opportunity to be in the hot seat and experience what they experience. But I've been with the Apartment Association just over 15 years now. It was pretty crazy because back when I was working in probably just some radio and some marketing production back in Salt Lake City. We moved to Colorado about 16, 17 years ago. And my wife had a job. I needed to get a job, so I went to a temp agency, and they matched me up over at Simpson Housing. And I was their marketing director was going on maternity leave, and they needed someone to fill her seat for a few months, and that was me. And I had really just gotten started in doing some marketing. I wasn't nothing out, nothing too groundbreaking, but I was able to accomplish a lot of the goals that they had during that time, and the job ended, and I really loved. I liked learning about the industry, and I wanted to stay there. They didn't really have anything for me, so I actually applied for the mailroom position over at Simpson, and they for whatever reason decided not to hire me for that one. They told me I was overqualified. Maybe I was underqualified. I don't know, but it's somewhere in that time frame that I was working at Simpson. I did some work for Sharon Ingram. It was probably some PowerPoint that I did, and she saw it, and she was on the executive committee for AAMD at the time, and when they were looking to add some positions, my name popped up in some meetings, and Mark gave me a call a few years later, a few months later, and that was 2006, and it was funny because when I hit my 15-month anniversary at AAMD, I had been at the job longer than I'd been in any of my other previous jobs. I was in my early 20s at the time, and so I was like, wow, 15 months! I can't believe I made it this long. I wonder if I can make it to 2 years. And I was like 3 years, and all of a sudden, 15 years later, still happy to be here.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I just want to add too, definitely not fluff having you on. I think, we definitely know how critical the Apartment Association is to the industry, and what a huge role it plays, and a huge piece of that role is getting that messaging and marketing out and getting those people involved, and so much of that falls on your shoulders. So really excited, to have this opportunity to speak with you and have you on here to spread that message. And, one of the questions I was going to start out with here is just, for being there for 15 years and seeing so much over those years, I'm curious, what are just some of those lessons learned, silver linings, or things you didn't really expect when you actually joined the AAMD team?
Yeah, there was a lot I didn't expect to know much about the association. When I was doing that temp work, it was right after Tributes 2005, and they where they were talking about. I didn't know anything about tributes or the apartment association. I do remember them. People, the buzz was around the following Monday over at the office. But that's pretty much the only exposure I had to the association at the time. But one of the things I didn't realize was just how much volunteer leadership plays into this organization. Our staff is, we'll talk about the staff probably at some point during this interview. The staff is a dozen or so of us, and over 15 years we've seen hundreds of leaders kind of go through the rank, go through board of directors, be committee chairs, volunteer on committees, and it really does take a army of volunteer leadership to run this organization. And I had no idea how many people I was going to meet, and I love meeting people. I love getting to know people and talking and having conversation. But I remember walking in my first day, and I thought the staff was I think it was 10 or 11 people. I was number 12, I think. I walked in on my first day, and there are 45 people wandering around the office. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. And it was like a chili cook-off selection day or something. It was, but it was something I didn't really expect. So the number of people that we work with from a volunteer basis is just extraordinary.
Yeah, it's quite a force. I know Janelle mentioned that last week too, that was one of the things that struck her being in the presidency. So let's talk a little bit about a day in the life then of Christopher Dean at the 7th largest apartment association in the country, which is a huge deal. I mean, again, to Ian's point, there's a lot on all y'all's shoulders. Talk a little bit about what a day in the life is like.
Yeah, it's funny you say 7th largest, because every day, really the first thing I do is I check the numbers, make sure we're still. It's really based on what Washington is doing. The Washington State Association, we're kind of neck and neck with them in terms of number of units. So we're either number 6 or 7, but it's right around there. But no, a day in the life, it's just really about juggling projects. I always have Apartment Trends, our monthly magazine. I always have that on my mind. We've been publishing that monthly, and and for as long as I've been here, it's probably 150 or so issues that we've published since then. And so there's always that out there. But my role really is supporting the other departments. We have so much going on, from education events and government affairs, the membership department, and helping the executive team as well, and the board. It's just really supporting as many departments as I can to just help the association succeed, because at the end of the day, we're just helping each other out. Every now and then I'll get this random idea, and I'll close my door and throw 90 minutes into it. I won't tell anyone what the idea is. I'll just kind of I'll see if I can see what happens. Something pops in my head. Let me work on this for a little bit and see if this turns into something I should share. Most of the time it's nothing, but I'll do that sometimes. But yeah, it's every day is different, and I think that's what's so nice about this organization is we're always doing something new. We're always innovating. We're always collaborating with each other.
Absolutely. I think, one thing that I love really specifically about your role and your duration there is just you've really, seen how the different issues and concerns of the apartment industry have changed over time, and really being able to, have to make that decision of what are you going to communicate, what gets published in Trends, what gets emailed out. And I think there's so many owners and operators that really rely on this information that you guys are putting out, and curious, from for yourself and looking back, how have some of those concerns and initiatives changed over the years, and what stayed the same?
Yeah, is that before or after the pandemic started? Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, the one thing that remains is just a simple truth that this industry provides. It exists. The industry exists to provide housing for people, and that's something that is a fundamental need in all of society, and it's a fundamental reason that the industry exists. And through that, relationships are built, and they're, relationships between people are really important. I was just thinking, food is a fundamental, need of society as well, but it's rare that the person who is checking you out of the grocery store or your butcher anymore, or your fast food the server, right? But people who are renting apartments to you, or housing provider, those relationships exist, I think, on much more of a deeper basis. But yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of challenges, right? Some are really unique to our industry, and some are not. Even prior to the pandemic, we were, the goal is one of our goals has been to just really shine a positive light on the industry. That's become much more important over the last 5 or so years, and promoting the industry as a viable career. That's something that's really important, is for folks to find and retain talent. I mean, it's now more than ever, really, but that's always, that's been something, and a lot of things that we've addressed within this association in a way to support the industry. Yeah, and you think about after the pandemic. Or not after the pandemic, we're not quite out of it, but after COVID hit back in March, I mean, that was new to everyone, right? There was no precedent to that, and in March, we essentially had to learn Zoom, right? We had to learn Zoom. We had not really used Zoom. Most people hadn't for a significant amount of time. We had to learn Zooms just so we could bring together people to basically figure out how are we going to start from the ground up in terms of how to operate businesses. And it was really a special time. As weird as it sounds, it's a really special time. The brightest minds come together on these Zoom calls. Some of the highest level people in our association, our membership, coming together, just trying to figure out how to tackle this problem instead of just sitting back and kind of hoping that it just kind of goes, which was, I think, admittedly, that was my first thought, was, what if we just kind of sit back, hunker down, and power through this? Hopefully it'll be gone pretty soon. But no, that the industry leaders knew what they were doing, and we did what we could to support the conversations and getting through this.
You guys gave them, I think, what I think is so important and such a testimony to you and the AAMD, is you've created over the years a place where everyone comes together, and have worked really hard to get at people volunteering and get people to have a central place where they can communicate and have a forum. So as COVID hit, you guys were uniquely qualified to really be able to, have everyone come together and quickly be able to produce what was needed. And if people didn't think they really needed the apartment association before the pandemic, let me tell you, they sure do after, because things were having to be decided very quickly. And I don't think you could have seen a better response from a industry or in particular a local apartment association as you did with us.
No, totally agree.
That was on our minds. How do we support the industry? And we were canceling events, we were canceling classes. We were like, what are we going to do? We need to support the industry. How are we going to do this? And leave it up to the volunteers and our board of directors at the time, Janelle, being a part of that, in coming up with just some great ideas on how we can help them and support them with our PR team and our government affairs team to help get through those tough months.
Yeah, you canceled some things, but then you innovated and brought them all back. I agree with Ian. There wasn't a better example of why y'all are needed. And even when you speak about one of the cornerstones of being employee engagement and attracting new talent to the industry, there's another one too, and that's that giving back side. And let's take a quick break, but when we come back, I really do want to talk about the charitable focus that our industry and the apartments association locally has. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about that.
Welcome to your beautiful new apartment home here at Gables Point 14. As you can see, we're featuring this beautiful one-bedroom den.
Introducing Remote Lock Universal Access Control. Remote Lock lets you manage any lock from smart locks to hardwired access control systems, securing every door from the main entrance to the rooftop patio. And you get to choose from the best top-of-the-line smart locks out there, from brands like Yale, Schlage, Kwikset, August, Mercury, and many more. Now you can configure and add access at the push of a button and set up customized schedules for each and every user, all within a matter of minutes. It even works with property management and booking software like Airbnb, Guesty, Entrata, RealPage, and more. With Remote Lock, you'll finally have a future-proof solution that controls all your properties around the world from a single, easy-to-use platform. Let Remote Lock be the last access control partner you'll ever need.
Welcome back. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this because, I mean, you mentioned it briefly earlier, Chris, that, you know, giving back is important and people don't know that out there that are outside the industry. I don't think it's really quite realized. And it's a major cornerstone of our industry. It's something that AAMD supports. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that charitable focus.
Yeah, years ago, we began this initiative designed to spotlight the the giving in the industry and what the industry does, specifically our membership. But a lot of it's kind of spun off of AAMD's partnership with Family Homestead, which is over 30 years, probably even closer to 35 years at this point. And we've given probably close to $600,000 to Family Homestead over the course of the last 35 years. And so, that piece of it is still very real and is still happening on a regular basis. We formed Apartments Giving Back, which is somewhat of a spinoff of that, as a way to show how our members partner with charitable organizations throughout the Denver communities. It's not just AAMD and Family Homestead, but all of our members. And we've identified there's probably 100 different organizations that are, somehow related to the industry in some way, whether it's management companies that do service projects, or they regularly donate to, or their people participate in their events or serve on their boards. Just the amount of time and investment charitable giving that our members do is what we have really wanted to spotlight through Apartments Giving Back.
It's so special. I mean, I've watched it, and it's a very powerful group of people that are coming together to be able to unite and give back. And when you have power in numbers, right? And I feel like, again, that's the glue that the Apartment Association provides, and just the direction, and then also letting us share as an industry where we're giving back, because we are a huge industry. So I just think it's such a key point to emphasize. And it's neat involving the residents. All these apartment communities give a platform for the residents to give, do food drives and sock drives and coat drives, and that feels good as a resident,
Yeah, and we've heard a lot about what kind of happened during the pandemic in terms of getting residents involved with, if it's Coats for Colorado or other organizations that are like that. That's it's easy to give back in that way. I think that happened a lot over the course of the pandemic, just from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that's always super important when looking at the association is just, when you look around and realize why everyone is there, why the volunteers are there, why the team at the apartment association of Metro Denver is there, it is a charitable first mindset. They're not going there to have a leg up in their career, while they might get that, and have that networking. They're truly there because they want, and it's important to them for people to have a better place to live, to increase that standard of living across the community, and coming together for that. And I think that really shines through. And when you look at like pre-apartment association and looking at like what the mentality was of a landlord, and what, where the people are coming from, of like, oh, they're the greedy landlords that's out for money. And the truth is, when you're part of this organization and around everyone, you see why we're in this business. You see it on all of these different podcasts. You see it, hear it from everyone involved in the association. It is to increase that level of lifestyle and quality of life, and it really shines through, and that's a lot of what the apartment association can do. And so I that charitable piece of it is just so important. And curious from your side, if there's anything additional that I guess anything for the apartment association like that you think it aspires to do for the industry, or just from your viewpoint of where you sit of what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited to just continue giving back. We're going to continue raising money through. First of all, we have the charity auction coming up soon, so we're bringing the charity auction back. We obviously weren't able to do it in 2020. We did something instead. We did like a dance on submit your dance videos and share and donate. So we were able to give to Family Homestead in that way. That was a little goofy, but it was fun. But the charity auction is going to be way less dancing for the AAMD staff to have to do. But the charity auction will be great, and that's going to be next month on December 2nd. And we're hoping to raise money to disperse to Family Homestead, and also give through our Apartments Giving Back initiative. And in doing so, we're partnering with more organizations, obviously. So I know that there's a new project called Warren Village that is a housing organization that some of our members are becoming heavily involved with, and we're planning on getting involved as well. Our Person of the Month program is something we started this before the pandemic. Is whenever we've had Person of the Month for many years, but starting a few years ago, we had someone keeps coming to my door and my phone's going on. We had a few years ago, we started actually giving money to the charity of that Person of the Month's choice, and so we were able to expand the scope of where we are dispersing charitable giving. And so the person, I think we give $500 per Person of the Month now, and last year for June Awards, we gave to charities of the leadership's choice. So the outgoing leadership of AAMD chose a charity that we gave money in their name. I mean, all in all, when since the pandemic started, AAMD's given between $60,000 and $65,000 to probably 75 different organizations, and that's something we're really we're proud of it. But it also really shows how our industry is involved in charitable giving, and we just want to be a part of that. And like you said, Ian, we want to shine a spotlight on the positives of the industry, not not buying into the narrative of greedy landlord and people just collecting checks from residents and laughing all the way to the bank. That is a false narrative that we're trying to change.
Absolutely. Well, let's take one more quick break here, and we'll be right back on the other side.
Meet Drew. She's a photographer living in Chicago and is currently looking for a new apartment. She's found a few places she likes, but isn't sure which one is the best fit. That's when Drew discovered Rent Grata. Rent Grata allowed Drew to talk to Ashley, a resident of the building she was considering. After talking to Ashley, Drew knew it was the right place for her, so she decided to move in. Today, Drew found a new home and Ashley made some referral money. But with RentGrata, it doesn't stop there. When this conversation data is combined with AI machine learning intelligence, RentGrata can provide new insights that allow property managers to get a better sense of what renters want. And that means a better renter experience for all. Welcome your residents, reach them with RentGrata.
Hey everybody, welcome back. All right, so you guys have a monumentally cohesive team, I feel like, there at the Apartment Association. And just what does it take to have such a cohesive team?
Yeah, we do have a great team. I think that there is a lot of longevity. That's part of it. Two of our staff members have been around for more than 20 years, and I think there are three of us that have been around for 15 or more years. And you add the industry experience of some staff members prior to getting to AAMD, and that stretches more decades. So there's a lot of experience, and I think the collaboration that we are able to do around each other is really plays into that. I was thinking the other day about when we started, in March 2020, when we had to start working from home. That was weird, because we're so used to seeing each other. And I know this is somewhat of a unpopular opinion, but I do feel like working from the office is something I prefer. It allows us to be able to be in each other's presence and actually bounce ideas off each other much easier, because I do believe that the cohesion and that kind of collaboration is really difficult to replicate in a virtual environment. And that's not true of all offices. I think about that in terms of our office, and I think a lot of people here believe that to be true as well. But a lot of it's because we've been together for so long, working together in the same office for so long. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. We were in the basement of our homes trying to get on calls with each other to talk. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, I think we, while we might not have realized how much we enjoy working in the office before it all, I think afterwards, it definitely became apparent that need for human interaction was very apparent. So want to go on to the next piece and have a little fun here, which is the AAMD Team Awards here. And so I'm going to give you a bunch of different awards, and you get to assign that award to someone on the AAMD team. So
I might get in trouble.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'll do my best.
Who's the most daring?
The most daring in terms of
most like adventurous,
most likely to jump out of a plane, or
yeah, exactly.
I'd probably say Lisa. I think that she's usually willing to try stuff like that. She might have to be talked into something really daring, but I would say probably Lisa. Maybe Tanya as well. Really talk her into doing something daring. There are a few people. Most likely to, I'd say Lisa.
Nice. But what about who's most likely to make you laugh? Funniest person?
Me personally, or everybody?
Either one.
Drew, since he got here, he's added a certain humorous element. He could tell a story and a joke in a really good way. And I think he can crack me up really easily. He's a very, people have known Drew Hamrick for years. He's been around. They understand his brand of comedy, and he's a lot of fun. So he can make me laugh pretty easily.
So what about well, we hear that you guys enjoy the show Survivor around there. So which one of you is most likely to appear?
to appear on Survivor.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are a bunch of us. We tend to watch Survivor and talk about it and talk about the contestants. And I think it would be really cool. I don't know if most likely to appear on it, but I think Elise would succeed really well on Survivor. I think she's got that. She could be really nice, and she could also stab people in the back the way they do on Survivor.
She's strategic.
She's strategic. Yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it. But no, she's. I think she would be great on Survivor.
Not only appear but win.
Yeah, I could definitely see her at least going to the final. Yeah,
I like it. How about who has a hidden talent and what is it?
hidden talent. We all have different talents that. And we every year we do a potluck. I'm always amazed at just the sheer talent of what people bring in and what they cook at home, but maybe in terms of like here's one, probably the most surprising thing is when Jake got here. He's in our membership team. He's a cartoonist, so he draws cartoons. We've put some artwork in trend, some of his artwork, and he disclosed to us that he has once recorded a rap album, so he raps as well, and he's demonstrated that a little bit as well. So that was probably more of the more surprising talent.
You surprised me. I didn't realize that you were a singer yourself and a guitar player, and I think you've got your own. I don't know how hidden it is anymore, but boy, oh boy, are you talented.
Well, it's become more and more hidden because the more in college that I was trying to make it a career, the more I realized I couldn't.
That's great.
But it is something I do enjoy, music very much, and it is still a very large part of my life.
All right, final question here for the awards are. Who would be the MVP of the AAMD if it was the Super Bowl?
If it was like if AAMD team
was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in this scenario, am I the quarterback? I'll be the quarterback. Yeah, let's see. Let's like Drew and Destiny are probably blocking for me, and maybe Tanya. Joey's my running back. He's pretty fast and athletic, right? That's the MVP. Yeah, the MVP is probably going to go to the person who scores a winning touchdown, right? So if I got the ball and I got a bunch of options, and a lot of options of receivers, Lisa and Bet. Yeah, it's whoever. It's who you know what it's going to be. It's going to be Mark's going to be in my ear from the sideline, and I'm going to have, and he's going to tell me who I'm throwing the ball to, because he's going to know what to do. It's going to be whoever catches the winning touchdown. I mean, assuming I throw it right. But in this scenario, if I'm in the Super Bowl as a quarterback, I must be pretty good. So
I was going to say it usually goes to the quarterback.
It would be the person that scores a winning touch. I can't say a name though because I can't.
Either that or whoever gets the strip.
It really could be anybody,
Well, perfect.
Love it. Well, let's jump to our walk-off home run question. What advice would you give somebody just starting out in the industry, Chris?
Yeah, I knew this question was coming because of the other podcast. Technically, I haven't really worked a day on site, right? So, I did a little bit over at Simpson, as I said earlier, in marketing, but I haven't. Association management, managing an association like AMD is really different from managing a apartment community. So this might be a little bit more generic advice, but I would say, find a mentor, find a friend, and learn and build off of what you learn. And then you can find ways of being valuable at your community or being valuable at your company that can't be replaced. everyone, every worker is unique and has different ways of helping, and we see that in our staff all the time. We'll see ways that people are contributing that they weren't originally hired for. They're hired to do something, and then we realize that they had a gift to be able to help out in different ways and help the association succeed. So yeah, I would say just make yourself, find ways to make yourself valuable, and also don't give up. Don't chase the dollar necessarily if you don't have to, because I think loyalty is a really important thing at companies, and that speaks louder than money sometimes.
Agreed. Chris, thank you so much. This has been really cool to have you on, and we appreciate your partnership. We appreciate you and the Apartment Association. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, and everyone remember to check out the charity auction coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, and I should say just before we head out that we're having more than 35 opportunities in 2022 to get together in person, and we just posted that on our website. Every event is scheduled out all the way through the year, all the way through Tributes 2022, and which will be next November. So we have a lot of opportunities to get back together in person, and we loved seeing people this year, and we can't wait to see what 2022 holds up. So
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thanks for all you guys do.
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, everyone.